Hey, today we're doing a comic talk, and if you are looking for a way to get into comics, we're going to explain one of our favorite X-Men comics.
Watcher
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Michael, aka Rickshaw, and this is Worship and Tribute Nerd. Today we're doing we're starting a new segment called Greatest Comic Book Stories. And we're just going to talk about maybe a story that influenced our love for comics. This is certainly my favorite story because it got me into comics. But anyways, with us, we have
Toby.
And
Destin.
And shout out to Toby with the Secret Levels podcast and the Secret Transmission.
That's right.
Check it out. And
he's got stickers.
Yeah. And
I do.
Today we're talking about the X-Cutionerssong. This was a story in the 90s, and I read this whenever I was in like 7th grade or something like that.
Old
and
man.
I was ever since I've been a hardcore X-Men fan. So, have you ever heard of this story?
I've heard of it. I didn't get around to reading it. So I've always wanted to read this story. And I think you used to tell me about it way back in the day.
Right.
And it was one of those always like on my to read list. And even when you handed me the trade to read, I kind of fumbled. So you're going to tell me about it again.
So what about you, Destin?
So I had never heard of the story itself, but of course I'd heard of like the things that came from the story, like how it affected X-Men down the line.
Right. And so did you enjoy the read?
Overall, yes, I enjoyed the story, but with this being the like next thing I read after the last thing we talked about with the newest big X-Men story,
Right.
like I couldn't help but do like comparisons, and overall I'm just like, wow, comics are a lot better now than they were. Like,
see, lots of people will disagree with
25
you,
years
because lots of people don't like all of the new shit. Pretty much all the new shit.
Everything.
Like everything. Like I know people that were like, I explained what happened in like the House of X story, and they were like, don't care. Just take me back to the old school shit, you know?
that's called nostalgia,
Right.
Yes.
and being stupid.
Right. So, anyways, I like the new shit. I like the old. I think that, nostalgia has a lot to do with the old X-Men stories and stuff, because there were some pretty good ones, but we're at a point in time where those story beats are like expected nowadays. So,
Yeah.
So is there anything that's canon from this that's still riding into current stuff?
I mean, it's all canon. Like, like as far as we know.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like with House of X, they reset things to where it's the same until they bring it up.
It's open-ended.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Right.
In House of X, they literally built in like everything that has ever happened in an X-Men comic happened in one of the lives of Moira McTaggart.
Yeah.
Right.
Basically.
So it could be true, it could be false. I mean, for just to give you an example, like, it seems like there is still like a Wolverine Cyclops feud with Jean Grey, but in the new stuff, it's starting to seem like they're a throuple. So that's because in the newest X-Men, they were already hanging out like acting pretty tight, tighter than normal.
They're boys now.
Right.
There was a scene at the end of House of X where like fucking Wolverine shows up with some beer and is just like, hey.
Yeah. And like in the newest X-Men comic, Cyclops was like, hey, Wolverine. And he's like, what up, bitch, or whatever. And he's like, bitch, huh? And he's like, just playing. And then he's like, anyways, I was going to ask you, me, Jean, and the kids are going to like a log cabin for the weekend. It'd be nice if you joined us. And he was like, well, I can't say no to that or some shit, and it was
chummy.
It was just like,
I gotta start reading these new X-Men comics. They're getting kinky. I like it.
I mean, to me, it just seems like every progression of friendship, it's like you're straight, and then down the line you might have smooched, and then down the line you might have shared your girl.
Yeah, it happens. It happens.
Anyways, we're gonna dive right into
what
this
you do.
Xcutionerssong. Let me set the stage. It's pretty it's a pretty big deal that the way that the progression went of the X-Men comics, because originally, of course, the X-Men became a thing, but then they wanted to start introducing new characters. So there was a comic called The New Mutants. The New Mutants was a new class of mutants training under the X-Men, training under Professor Xavier, and they're learning to use their powers and stuff like that. And then after about 100 issues, I think it was 100 issues exactly, the New Mutants grew up and started their own team. Like, you know, they graduated from the professor's school or whatever, and then they became X-Force, and then Cable was their leader, and they were doing their own thing, and I think they worked for the government, but they used a little more extreme, you know, like tactics. Like they might kill people if they have to, you know what I mean?
Right.
So that's kind of where we come into this story.
Okay.
So
Yeah, like the book itself calls them a paramilitary group, basically.
Right. Yeah. So the beginning of the story is pretty much Professor is speaking he's speaking on TV, right? It's like a big conference and it's on television.
It's like a big concert kind of festival-ish looking thing. It's probably also it's also televised, I think, but
Right.
like it's primarily just like a big festival looking thing.
Yeah.
Like there's thousands of people there.
And he gives like a speech, and right after it's like you know, pro mutie, but it was like, well, I just said a derogatory word towards mutants. Anyways, it was
Pro-mutie.
It was
Yeah,
pro
muties.
mutant, and it was promoting peace between humans.
It was pro brotherhood.
Yeah,
between
it was. But
cohabitants.
and at the end of the speech, someone steps out of the audience and shoots him in front of everyone, and it's revealed that it's Cable that shot him. And he shot him with like some sort of techno-organic virus, and it infected him, and everyone's like, what the fuck? We were just watching TV, and we saw Cable, the leader of X-Force, the kids that went to school here that are our homies,
Right.
shoot Professor Xavier. So that is the first part without getting into like a bunch of semantics about the story. So the X-Men are like, what the fuck's going on? We're trying to get a hold of Cable. I guess they forgot to call him, or maybe.
They're emailing him. They're
Right.
like, hey, what's up, bro?
I mean, this was what, 90. I mean, it was fucking the 90s.
He's leaving me
so.
on read. He read it.
It was the
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah, even though they all have like comms
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff like that. But they
Cable,
can't get a
what-
hold of him. I guess he was time traveling at the time or something like that, right? Isn't that in the story? Like,
So like Cable's just not doing anything.
Yeah.
Like until he shows up trying to figure out what the hell's going on with Strife. Cable is just a non-existent thing, except for the fact that they lead you to believe that the man in the beginning is Cable.
okay, so they're just trying to they like call up X-Force. They're like, yo, where's your dad? Or whatever, They're like, where's your dad at? And they're like, why? What's going on? They're like, hey, Cable just fucking shot Professor Xavier. Like, and they were all like, no, nah, he wouldn't do that. And
Not
then
Cable.
pretty much it starts like a civil war within the X-Men.
So X-Force,
yes.
X-Men.
It was like X-Factor and the main two groups of X-Men go looking for X-Force, and they're just like...
Gotcha.
So then they end up on the run, but then a big confrontation happens between them, and it's pretty awesome. Like in the middle of the woods, it's just like panel after panel of like Wolverine fighting Feral.
Right.
And like, multiple men fighting everyone. And like, fighting all of X-Force and like shit like that. So that was like my favorite part of the whole
Who
story.
is the main part of the team of X-Force in this?
I mean, it's like, it seems like they are lost without Cable. They're like, what do we do? And so it's about like Cannonball and like Sunspot and Richter
Okay.
and Feral and them all trying to like figure out what they should do about this, or they're trying to find Cable and ask him like, what the hell's going on? You know what I mean? So yeah, go ahead.
They were super thrown for a loop by the whole like Cable shot Professor X thing because they didn't know anything about that happening.
Right.
Yeah. And then, it's been a long time since I read it, but you find out a lot of people are kind of involved. I think Apocalypse is involved in a way.
He becomes involved later on.
Right. So where does the story go after that? After they get X-Force,
All right.
and they...
So you skipped an important part of the story.
Okay. This is why you're here.
Pretty much, I guess, apparently, as it turns out. So, Professor X gets shot by Cable.
Right.
But not Cable.
Cable.
Right.
Cable. And he gets rushed to the hospital. Everybody starts like freaking out a little bit, trying to get together, figure out what the hell is going on. The X-Men and X-Factor, you say, led by Havoc?
Yeah.
X-Factor and the X-Men start getting together and they're like, what the hell is going on? And at this same time, before the news has spread, before anything is happening, Cyclops and Jean Grey are having dinner or whatever at a bar that the original X-Men used to hang out at whenever they were first going through school or whatever.
Right.
And they just up out of nowhere get attacked by Caliban. And
the big buff Caliban, not the skinny one. It was whenever Caliban was a horseman of apocalypse.
Okay.
So he's buff.
They get jumped by him and then several other horsemen of the apocalypse, and they get abducted.
Right.
And that's the two sideline stories of the whole arc, is that Cyclops and Jean Grey have been abducted by somebody, you don't learn who until a little bit later on, and trying to figure out why Professor X was shot.
Right. Okay. So those are the two main stories that are going on right now.
Right.
And then it goes back to the whole fighting with the X-Force, and then it kind of bounces back and forth until the two storylines kind of meet and become one thing.
Right. So after they, subdue X-Force, they kind of give up. They're like, there's this whole scene where they're like, okay.
Yeah.
Like straight up, there's like thousands of multiple men standing in the background, like ready to go. And the X-Force is all like, all right. You got us.
And Cannonball basically calls it, and like his whole team is like, no, we could keep fighting. We could win this. And Cannonball is just like, nah, man. In like about 30 seconds, we were all going to die.
Yeah. I mean, Cannonball probably could have got the fuck out of there.
Yeah, but everybody else would have been wrecked.
Right. Because he's fucking Cannonball. He could probably just shoot himself all the way to Ohio. And he'd be cool.
Specifically Ohio.
Right. I think he's from like Nebraska or some shit. So maybe he'd just go there.
Just go home and chill.
So something that happened in fiction, writing, comic books, novels, everything, between when this happened and now, you don't write accents into dialogue anymore. That's not a thing. You just make
is it real heavy in this?
so fucking much. Like, I could not understand what was happening half the time.
Who was it?
All of them, everybody. Wolverine, Cannonball, every character that did not have a regular accent was just like, oh, sugar, ember,
I like that, because some people have a hard time hearing like an accent.
Right.
He couldn't even understand it reading it.
Yeah,
Love it.
I mean, if you've watched X-Men the animated series, you get a lot of, you could just hear them talking.
Yeah.
Like especially like Rogue or
Gambit. Gambit's the best.
Yeah.
There were just so many freaking apostrophes when there shouldn't have been apostrophes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what?
Apostrophes are way cooler in the 90s, just so you know.
Everything was
They were
way
the
cool in the
rage.
90s. Yeah.
So they gave up. X-Force gave up.
And they get thrown basically into like prison cells inside of the Xavier Academy.
Okay.
And they're getting like interviewed. And while this is happening, Professor Xavier has been pulled out of the hospital that he was taken to into the academy, and Beast and Moira McTaggart through some screen. She's like apparently not there. She's just talking over video chat. Beast and Moira McTaggart are analyzing him and trying to figure out what the hell it is that's wrong with him, what this virus is.
I love that Beast is so smart, but it's also like, do they ever think about all the things he's fucked up? Like, because they're like, it's always like, oh, well, Beast will know what to do. Beast knows what to do. Oh, he's smart enough. And then it's like, well, he did turn himself fucking blue and furry, and he didn't know what the fuck to do after that. There's been like several times where he's like fucked with time. He's like time traveled and like affected everything. And people are still just like, let's ask Beast what to do.
Well, I mean, to my ears, all of this sounds like positives. I mean, like, if I could be big, blue, and furry, I'd be down. If I could go fuck with time, I'd be down.
Maybe he was just like, I just want to make my nuts big, blue, and furry. And then he's like, oh man, I turned my whole body. This is a plus.
It was just supposed to
In
be
some
my
ways.
nuts.
It's just supposed to be up to my belly button.
I wanted the world's best, worst happy trail.
I was going to a furry convention before it was popular. And I just wanted beast legs.
Do you know how much the bottom of those costumes cost? I just wanted to change half of it.
Right. For my lady.
For my lady.
Right.
She's like, have you ever looked at the Cookie Monster video? Because there's a lot going on.
Wait, I've got a serious question.
Okay, go ahead.
Whoever sleeps with Beast, is that bestiality?
You know,
Better question. Does Beast have a corkscrew penis?
I would think that he has like a red rocket.
Like a dog?
Yeah. And you know, Moira, it's like I can't even look at her the same in a comic. I know that she's a mutant now. You know, not
was she
to be
not?
racist.
Wow, I mean, the mutie comment now.
I'm not racist against mutants. Also, I was thinking about this the other day. Is there a word in comics for someone who is racist towards mutants?
I don't know. You call them muties or like pro
Well, yeah,
muties?
they call them that in the comic book a lot, kind of. So
I think it's just
saying.
mutant haters.
Mutist?
Mutist. Sounds like you might hate deaf people too, or you know.
Yeah, that's what it means to be mute. Can't hear.
Close
Yup.
Close enough. Close enough.
Anyway, this is continuing
Back
with
to
the story.
the
Back to the story, because after this is whenever I stop remembering what happens.
It sounds like you stopped remembering what happens a little bit ago, but that's fine. That's fine.
No,
That's
like I said, I told you my favorite part. Toby borrowed my book, so I couldn't even. I was like, yeah, here, take it, go.
I was so excited to read it too.
Yeah, and then
Andy fumbled.
I fumbled.
And then I was like, he's gonna bring it back, and he's gonna know the whole story, and I'm gonna read it or at least skim over it to refresh, and then
None of these things happened.
I feel like I'm being
Not a
attacked.
single one.
yeah, it's okay. You know, I mean, who even cares about comics anymore? Just
Fair point. Viewers,
I'm just
fuck
kidding.
you.
I mean, the continuity's lost already. House of X destroyed that.
We literally just started a new continuity. How is it lost?
Anyways, it's about remembering the good times.
The
you
good
know what I mean?
times.
Right. It's like if a relationship ends, you remember the good stuff. And then you go, at least we erased that continuity, though.
The last 3 months didn't happen. The first few years were great.
Yeah.
Right. All right, so let's keep going.
All right. So the X-Men, X-Factor have X-Force in their little prison.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing research on Professor Xavier. Nothing's going on there. Beast, Myra, they can't get anything done. Nothing's happening.
What do you know, Beast?
And then at the same time, it's also flashing back and forth from all that also to Cyclops and Jean Grey being abducted and being like antagonized and like tortured, mentally tortured, physically tortured by Strife
Okay.
all this time. So it's like Strife is there pretty much the entire time, and it's clear that he has something to do with at least half of the storyline going on. He is the person in charge of Cyclops and Jean Grey being abducted. It does not make it clear that he is, in fact, the person that shot Professor Xavier until a little bit further in. Because then, at certain point, he's like antagonizing Cyclops and Jean Grey, and he just pulls off his helmet, and it's like, oh, hey, there's Cable, but this isn't Cable. And I was very confused because I didn't know what any of this was.
They were like, boom, big reveal. And Dustin was like, huh?
I'm like, wait,
So it is Cable.
like, wait, Cable's the bad guy? I thought Cable was a good guy. What's happening?
Right. And if you know anything about Strife, he wears like the most intimidating armor of like most villains, I guess. Like big silver
Is it intimidating?
headpiece.
It is massive and terrifying.
To me, it reminded me of like whenever Skeletor got like the superpowers at the end of the Masters of the Universe movie. Remember that?
Nope.
It also looks kind of like you just kind of spray painted Ocean Master silver, really.
Okay.
So it
I don't know who that
is.
is, but I don't like it. Okay.
You didn't see Aquaman.
Oh, I saw it. It was bad.
Great.
Maybe I just
we'll have this discussion
maybe I
later.
just meant to not remember. I was like,
Fair. But that one scene where he went into the water and it was all red, that was beautiful. Anyways,
Anyways, we're not talking about cinematography. We're talking about garbage movie. Anyways, let's keep it going.
oh, so X-Men Apocalypse, yes.
Oh well, that's a different story. Those movies were, I'm guessing, filmed in a junkyard because they did not want those to be good.
Nope.
They went out of their way to make complete garbage for, I guess, morons that wanted to pay movie tickets prices. I paid.
Yes, like you and me.
I paid. Yeah, I paid because, whenever you hear that, there's a couple of mentally challenged people fighting in the street, you go watch.
You can't help. You buy the ticket.
I mean, you might call the cops, but they didn't believe that the movies were bad when I called. I was like, hello, police. There's something atrocious going on at the movie theater. What is it? What is it? And I'm like, this garbage X-Men movie.
So, another thing I learned, the last series we all read together.
Yes.
So, the only series we all read together,
You're
I
right.
guess.
So far, yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Sinister is a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's almost a big deal in this. Very
Right.
nearly, but not really.
Right.
He shows up and basically tells the X-Men that Apocalypse is involved somehow.
So he's just
and then he
pissed
leaves.
that someone else kidnapped Cyclops
That's
and
probably
Jean
what it
Grey.
was, yeah.
Like that's it. He's just like, oh,
If
someone
you know
else got
so
them.
if you know anything about Mr. Sinister, he's like obsessed with Cyclops and Jean Grey because he knows that they're two super powerful mutants and they're gonna give birth to like an Omega level mutant that's like insane. So he's been trying to make that happen. He even is responsible for cloning Jean Grey, and then after Jean Grey was dead, making Cyclops meet the clone and fall in love to manipulate them into having a child, which ended up being Cable. So,
I think he just wants a threesome.
I mean,
It's real big in the
there's
X-Men,
only-
the threesomes.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's one couple to be obsessed with in life, it's Scott Summers and Jean Grey. Just saying.
Based on all the pictures on your wall, I see you agree.
You should see the ones I had under my bed.
Keep going.
NakedXmenCharacters.com.
It's just a laptop. He showed up, told him that
That Apocalypse was somehow involved.
Apocalypse was somehow involved, which he really fucking wasn't. He lied, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, it wasn't Apocalypse and the Horsemen just kind of like paid to kidnap Cyclops and Jean Grey by Strife? Something like that?
the entire time that all this stuff was happening, Apocalypse was in his little liquid holding chamber where he's healing from
Right.
being blown up on the moon or some shit that happened. So Sinister comes in and says, like, Apocalypse is involved, Strife is involved, y'all get on that. And then
Right.
he leaves. And then he takes something in exchange, but I think it's like just some sort of DNA, probably from
Of course.
Cyclops or some shit. And he's
Yeah.
like,
Go, can't wait to get home and play with this DNA.
I've got his tissues he blew his nose into.
Right. Ooh, doggy.
So, and of course, Angel is super pissed off about the whole Apocalypse thing. He's blue and angry, and it's great, all that stuff.
Right.
And as what am I saying here? Okay, as Cyclops and Jean Grey are slowly figuring out what's going on more and more with the whole Strife thing, trying to figure out how to escape, working on plans and stuff, just being tortured, and Strife is all just like, "You're shitty parents," but without straight up saying it.
I mean, it's those torture tactics. You gotta hit every level with it.
All emotions.
You gotta crack some heads, tell them they're bad parents, tickle some feet.
Tickle some feet.
You gotta get the like.
That's how you torture
Your
me.
cooking is horrible.
Right.
Lobster was bad.
You make lobster bisque like a bitch, Scott Summers.
Is
But
that
Gene likes it.
is that a line in the new video?
I don't know.
I don't know what he says. He's like, it might be.
Hey, speaking of, you know what? Let's take a little break, and we're gonna show a video we made, and it made me feel super nerdy as I was editing it. Not as we were filming it.
No.
Not.
You were cool
not
when you were filming
yeah,
it.
Yeah, not when we were all dressed up.
I disagree.
But But anyways, we got all dressed up and we made a funny video about X-Men. So we're gonna show that to you right about now.
Previously on
Your destiny is at its end, X-Men. The Dark Phoenix has come to destroy you all!
What happened?
Scott Summers.
Who is that? How do you know my name?
I know all.
What are you?
I am a Watcher.
What am I doing here?
I have come with dire news.
What is it?
In another reality, they out here making you look like a bitch.
I'm a bitch?
Oh yes.
That can't be true.
Oh yes. You, Scott Summers.
Dude, straight up, I'm the Captain America of the X-Men.
In other realities, they're making movies about you and your exploits, and making you look like a little bitch in every scene.
Show me.
Oh, I will show you.
Is that supposed to be me?
Yes.
That's stupid.
Oh yes.
Where's their colorful suits?
Gone.
If we do this, we do it as a team.
What is this garbage?
It's movies.
Who directed this shit?
A pedophile.
F*** you, Watcher, for showing me.
Put this on.
You asked for it.
Show me more.
You cry a lot. I told you.
This franchise doesn't even make sense. I'm sick of this
Night shift has arrived. Oh, my shift is over already? You have been doing this for 10 hours. Oh man, my union rep is gonna be pissed. They're always pissed.
I can't believe this bull. It's bull. Like, oh, freaking Wolverine. Oh, making me look like a bitch. Get home, fight that dude right. Punch him right in his adamantium face, dude. Oh my god.
It is time to hand over the gloves. Is that the animated Scott Summers? It is. Good, I was worried it was the bitch one. Oh no, but he now knows. He knows of the alternate bitches. He does. Good. Gloves, yes. I hate these things. As do I. As do we all. Yes.
Oh my god. Oh. Stupid, so stupid.
So, any plans for tonight? Just gonna go home and watch more Breaking Bad. That's a good show, yes. Enjoy yourself.
I still can't believe they killed me off screen. What is this garbage?
It's called cinema.
Why would you kill the leader of the X-Men off screen? This is so pathetic.
You're pathetic.
You're not even the same Watcher.
Yes, I am.
So what do they say about me in this dimension?
Well, you scream Jean a lot.
Well, I love her.
We all know.
Listen, you're starting to get on my nerves.
Goodbye, Scott Summers of the animated universe.
Man, those bald bitches better not come back.
So that was a fun video, right, guys?
Oh, that was a
Yeah.
great
It's a
video.
great one. So good.
You're still laughing, yes?
Well, the fact of the
Fucking
matter is,
bitch.
yeah, they make Cyclops look like a bitch in every form of media except for well, even in the comics sometimes.
No, I was about to say, he looks like a bitch in this comic.
Does he?
Like, he doesn't do much.
Right. Well, I mean, you can only do so much with optic blasts when you're being held captive on the moon.
All you do is you sit there and let your wife, Jean Grey, handle the shit, is what
Well,
he does.
I would
She's
do the
Omega
same.
mutant.
I would do the same.
Yeah, she's an Omega mutant. Yo, hook me up.
Captain America of the X-Men, my ass.
Whoa. If Captain America had an Omega level mutant girlfriend, I'm sure he'd let her do some shit too.
Dude, you know what time period he's from? Women can't do anything.
Touche.
Back to the
Anyways,
story.
Back to the story. Where were we at, Dustin, the main storyteller, since I realized I forgot about most of what happens?
About everything, yes. I was not prepared for this. So, they go, Apocalypse gets woken up by Strife,
Okay.
who has decided, so how much do you two know about Strife? I assume you know most everything about Strife.
I know a little. I know kind of where he comes from and stuff.
Do you know that in the future, this is something I halfway learned from this and halfway learned just by falling down a Google rabbit hole after I finished
Right.
the story. So Strife is, okay, ruining the comic book here, but that's kind of what we're doing.
Right.
So
Spoiler alert.
spoiler alert, in case you didn't
Yeah.
know, Strife is a clone of Cable. Yes?
Yes.
He is the clone.
Mm-hmm.
He was not raised in like a kind, loving environment like Cable almost kind of was.
I mean, Cable was raised in his hellacious future and then brought over. Well, it's very convoluted.
Yes. Yes, it is.
It was like he was. They gave birth to him. He was like sent to the future, raised by.
Akita or whatever the hell.
Yeah, but then also a version of Scott and Jean, like, came to the future and helped raise him at,
really?
at one point. Yeah, it was like a weird miniseries to where it showed them taking care of him in the future in this like post-apocalyptic world or whatever. It's comic books, guys. Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Yes. So, Strife is the clone of Cable. He did not get raised by his parents. He did not get raised by anyone other than Apocalypse in the future. So,
That'll make you bad.
yeah, this is why Strife is so much stronger than Cable, because he was raised by this like
was
we are
raised
prime mentality and
to
you
not be
will
a bitch.
Well, does-
raised to not be a bitch
Does
and like
Strife,
amplified a little
does
bit.
Strife have the techno-organic virus or whatever like Cable?
Not that I know of.
I didn't think
So
he
that's
did.
definitely why he's stronger then, because
Does
so
the
if-
techno-organic weaken Cable?
Well, so the thing is about Cable is like he is like super powerful mutant, but he has had the techno-organic virus, which like turns your body and your cells into like metal and
Yeah.
like and shit like that. But anyways, his telekinesis or whatever is what holds him together. So like at all times, he's focusing a little bit on keeping his body from being consumed by this virus. So that's why he's like known as one of the like most powerful mutants. But then you don't see him do crazy stuff because he's always focusing on keeping his body intact pretty much. So like there has been some times where he's like in a fight and he lets it go and his like all of his metal and shit starts going crazy and like looking all weird and bulky and like he starts swinging it around and shit.
and he
So-
starts doing crazy X-Men things.
yeah. Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, Strife was raised by Apocalypse, so that's why he is strong and fucked up in the head. And he hates Apocalypse. Lo
What
and
do you
behold. Who'd have thought?
Right.
People hating their dad, it's unbelievable. You know?
I can't understand it.
It's almost like was Apocalypse there for him?
Abusively, yes.
Did they have toy stores in the future?
Did you see them in the flashback?
I mean, what were they doing? Smooching?
Yes.
That's why he hates him.
That's why.
We've gotten to the root of the problem.
You and Uncle Larry did weird shit to me.
Why you gotta talk about Larry like that?
Look in the flashback.
So he hates Apocalypse. So Strife very much has a two-pronged thing going on here. He wants to fuck Cyclops and Jean Grey over.
Okay. I was waiting for the end of that sentence because you dragged that out really.
Right.
Okay.
He wants to fuck
And like
up
prove,
their lives.
and prove to himself that they are terrible people and they are terrible parents. And that's like pretty much the whole reason he abducted them. He's trying to get them to prove to him that they are as bad as he views them. And then also he wants to fucking murder Apocalypse. And right now in the time period he is in is the best time to do that because
he's
he
in
just
this-
got blown the fuck up by Cyclops.
He's in a weakened state.
Mm.
Okay.
Right.
So Strife, while all the other stuff and like the X-Men are like slowly figuring out what is happening more and more and more, Strife goes to where Apocalypse is being healed at, fucks up his horsemen, goes, pops Apocalypse out of his little thing, and like damn near murders him. And then leaves with the horsemen who have now been like, oh, you are the strongest person alive now because you beat Apocalypse. We follow you now.
Ooh.
That happens.
Upgrade.
Yes, basically.
It, like, I wish I could just go fight people for a promotion. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the boss now. No, you're not. Let's fight. Because I learned this like sick Indian bird move the other day. Who's the boss? Indian bird.
You win.
You are.
You have all my subscribers. Leave me alone.
Take them.
YouTube honors this. They transfer
they
the
honor it.
subscribers.
Yeah,
They automatically
It's
turn on the bell and everything.
gonna next time I log into YouTube, it's gonna be like new terms and services. You can Indian burn someone for their channel. Is that derogatory?
Probably.
Indian burn?
Probably.
Dang.
A Native American burn.
That's a sick burn.
Pretty sick.
Why are you all so racist?
I'm sorry, I didn't know. I
We were trying
forgot.
to be correct about it.
Native American burn. That's what I will. I apologize for everything. I'm so sorry.
You corrected it.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it okay.
Oh.
But it's weird that you can connect a racist comment to a fight move.
Also, why are you still calling it a fight move? I've never watched UFC.
It's a submission.
And Conor McGregor just bends somebody over and is like,
Say uncle.
There should be a wrestler with that submission. They're like, oh no, he's got the Native American burn. And they're
okay,
like,
so I'm pretty sure if you went and got on the WWE network, you would find that man like 30 years ago. Yes,
really?
probably.
Probably, yeah.
Well,
They used
we're
to be
gonna have
pretty
to Google
racist.
that.
They have
Google that for
they have
us.
plumber wrestlers. They have lawyer wrestlers.
They had a race car driver.
There was a Michael Jackson wrestler recently. Did you
Oh,
see
he's
that?
good. He's actually pretty
he's
good.
Tight. That's tight. He did like the moonwalk.
It was a moonwalk DDT.
Yeah, he puts your head there, does the moonwalk, and then drops you.
It's cool.
Sick.
It's really cool.
So this is what medium type videos are like. Yes.
Right. Let's just keep going, Dustin.
I've ruined all of Michael's fun.
Yeah, the things I think are fun. You're just your age difference is like you're like, no, that's racist. No, people don't do that anymore.
You're just shitting in our cereal.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you like it.
Are you the ultimate social justice warrior?
Sure.
No. Where were we, anyways?
Strife beat the fuck out of Apocalypse.
Right.
Now he's got his bitches.
Right.
Now he's got his
yeah.
bitches. Yes.
He's got the employee badge, the manager employee badge
He
now.
took it and put it on his lapel, and then he goes back and keeps
Right.
torturing Cyclops and Jean Grey a little bit more.
Okay.
There's a weird techno-organic baby. It's all great fun.
Right.
And at this time, Wolverine and Bishop have gone off on their own little excavation mission.
X-Adventure.
X-Adventure, yes. That's what we call them.
Right.
Gone off on their own mission to try and figure out where Cable is because they still think Cable is the one that killed Professor
tried to
X.
kill Professor X. Okay.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, though, it was Strife. Right.
Yes.
Right.
More spoiler alerts.
Yeah.
Infinite spoiler warnings.
So it was Strife.
Because he's a clone. Did y'all know that already?
Yeah, it's a clone. So this is like where, you're saying like, well, modern comics, I kind of like the modern story. Well, like this was back whenever you couldn't just use clone for everything. You know what I mean?
This is when it was still new.
Yeah, this was even before the Spider-Man clone saga or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
we don't talk about that either.
so, for what in the early 90s to be like, this guy that looks like Cable tried to kill Professor, and then when they reveal it's Strife, you were like, oh shit. For you, it was probably like, oh, the clone thing. All right,
That's been overdone.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah.
I will go ahead and say I like that last series we read together, House of X and
Yeah.
all that. Also because my X-Men knowledge is very much in the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So a comic that was like 25 years ago, based on the comics 5 years before that, very much out of my range of knowledge.
Right.
So like Cannonball shows up and he's like the leader of these people, and I Google him and they're like, he's a really strong mutant, and I'm like, who the fuck is this guy?
Cannonball was one of the first New Mutants to train with Professor. New Mutants was pretty much an excuse to introduce all the new characters they could.
Well, yeah.
So
because it's a bad idea to only have like 5 characters and be like, we're good forever, right?
right,
Never gonna want anything
It seems
other
like
than
it
this.
now. It seems like nowadays people don't want new characters. You know what I mean? Like there was a point in time where people were like, "Fuck, give us some new characters," and now everyone's like, "Oh, another character." Oh, is it a female? Oh, this is stupid. And it's like, dude, I just want to see new characters. Who cares?
It just seems like nowadays they just keep adding and adding and adding, and that's why it's like, no, we've got so many toys. We don't need more toys on the table. Like,
right. Well, I mean, if you're gonna add a character though, like let's try hard. Not just go, not just say like, Iron Man, but it's someone else, and then like. It's Captain America, but it's just some other person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thor, but he's a woman now.
Right. But I mean, like, I still am okay with the era that those started coming out. But it's just like now we should just play with those toys a little longer instead of keeping it going. I just saw there's like a new series called it's like Children of the Atom or something like that. It's like the new Children of the Atom or something, which is like a new group of X-Men at the school, and they're all of their powers resemble the original group of X-Men a lot, but they're training those kids now. So it's like, I get what you're doing. I do want to see fresh blood, but do I want to like a cover of an X-Men
A 2.0
story, which is like they just replace every character with like somebody different and diverse?
at that point, you might as well be doing like another universe, just like the Ultimate series or something.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
throw it over there. If you want to play with these characters, but with a new light, go do it on a different universe.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so
X-Men, X Factor, they make up with the X-Force
Right.
kids.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, you're good. We're going to pull like 2 or 3 of y'all out of your little prison cells. The rest of you can stay there. Fuck off, I guess. And y'all are going to help us get down to the bottom of this. You're going to help us find Cable. You're going to help us figure out everything that's going on with Strife. And
so at this point, do they know that it's Strife, or do they still
Not-
think it's Cable?
Not yet. So
Yeah,
that's
I
what I was
think-
saying. So
I think
Wolverine
this
and
is-
Bishop.
When does Cable come into the picture though? Like he is off like on his own little time travel adventure vacations or whatever. And he comes back and he's like, Greymock, and show me some recent news. And they were like, apparently you tried to shoot Professor Xavier. And he's like, to be continued. You know what
It's
I mean?
Why
literally
don't-
based
why
on
don't-
exactly that.
Why do I feel like it's one of those things where he's drinking coffee and he's like, "What's the news?" And he's like, "Oh, you tried to kill the professor." And he's like, oh, "Okay, what?
Yeah.
I did what?"
It's like, and you go off on a 3021 vacation to see the future, and you get back and you shot the professor and your mentor. Goofy. Next time on X-Men.
So it works out that you said that because pretty much exactly that happened. And
Right.
And Cable is talking to Gray Malkin and all that, and he's like, okay, where can I go find information on where Strife is right now? And apparently there's this big room full of files in Canada or some shit where there's files on like everybody, because Cable is going there to find files on Strife, and Wolverine and Bishop are going there to find files on Cable to figure out where Cable is.
Right.
So they get there,
So they're like, sup?
and all three of them just run into each other, and they just fight each other for a little bit,
Like you do.
Right.
as you do.
I mean, you know, I'm pretty sure everybody wants to see a Wolverine Cable Bishop fight. You know what I mean? Just for shits and grins. You know
Yeah,
what I
you
mean?
gotta
So-
you gotta have that. If not, it's a wasted panel.
Right. They're like, oh, you're like, who else could fight Cable? Maybe another time travel? Oh, Bishop. And wait, who else would be cool to throw in there?
The angry short hairy
Hulk? Hulk? No, he's not in. He's not in this series.
Let's ask every person on the planet. Wolverine. We got it.
So they fight for a little bitty bit, and then they like talk to each other, and they decide, oh, we're friends. That's cool. We don't trust each other, but
Friends
I guess
again.
you probably didn't try to kill Professor Xavier.
I mean, you're not trying to kill us anymore, and you're buff. So let's just help.
That
He's
sounds
pretty
like
buff, though, right?
Sounds like the WWE to me. So they go and they get their files on Strife and figure out where Strife is, basically, or where they think Strife is in some underground shit in Illinois. Illinois is back.
Right. There we go.
And they figure that out. Storm and all them, they go to the place in Illinois. They attack. There's like this evil mutant league, MFL or MLF or something like that.
It sounds like a competing wrestling company. We'll start our own.
Vince McMahon hasn't bought them out yet.
Right.
They're fine. So they take out all the people there. They don't learn too awful much. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened because, as I said, I was not prepared to be the one that knew everything.
Right. But we're almost done, right?
We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah,
There's literally just like 2 things left. So they go, they do all that. They learn more about Strife and exactly what's going on. They're almost getting there. Then they go, and at some point, one of them runs into Apocalypse. And Angel's like, I want to murder you. And everybody else is like, don't murder him yet.
Classic.
He's the one that did this to Professor Xavier. We need his help, blah, blah, blah. He talks to them, talks to Storm, and they decide. And basically, it all wraps up, and they find out actually Strife is the one behind all this. And Apocalypse is pissed off at Strife. They're pissed off at Strife. Everybody is very upset at Strife. So Apocalypse is like, I will help you with Professor Xavier. You take me and help me fuck up Strife. So they take Apocalypse back to the X-Mansion. He sits and he's like, okay, I'm going to do this. And everybody's like, can you tell us what you're going to do? And he's like, nah. Liquefying everything. And he goes into liquid. Everything's real weird for a second. And like Angel's sitting here like just standing here stoically as like everybody else is freaking out. And they're like, we have to go stop him now. And Angel's like, I'll fucking kill you if you try and do that. And everybody's like, oh, Angel's evil again. And he's just like standing here staring at him. And then Havoc's just like, no, let it go. Let it ride. Listen to Angel. Trust him. And everything's fine. Professor X becomes a normal human again. He's just in a little bit of a comatose state for a little bit. His body is healing. Apocalypse is fine. He's like, wow, that was hard.
Yeah. And then they go to the moon for the final battle.
And he's like, I have a ship that'll take us to the moon. Let's go to the moon.
Convenient.
Yeah.
At the same time, they figured out everything was on the moon. And Storm had told Cable, Bishop, and Wolverine to hang out on the Gramelkin until they could go. They did for like an hour and a half or something like that while all of the healing Professor X was happening. But they decided, hey, we don't want to wait anymore, so we're going to go to the moon.
I mean, you could only watch so many episodes of like Breaking Bad before you get bored and you want to go to the moon for your final battle.
I haven't cut anything up in an hour. I gotta go, bub.
Enough about this meth dealer.
There's literally just like multiple frames of scenes of all them just hanging out in the Gramalkin together, and like Wolverine's like, you got a deck of cards, and he keeps trying to smoke cigars, and Gramalkin keeps like spraying little foam on the cigar, and he gets pissed off, and he gets a cigar, and he sees a spray thing coming out. He's like, "Shing, fuck you, Grandmakin," and it's a lot of fun.
Well,
It keeps sounding like you're going to say grandma-kin, like grandma-kin.
Yeah, that's how you say it, right?
It's graymakin, like
Same shit.
Grandmakin.
Grandmakin.
Yes, Sonny.
That's the voice I pictured whenever I was reading it.
Grandmakin. No smoking in here, Wolverine.
he didn't understand the accents on it.
Yeah,
though,
he
so.
didn't.
I couldn't
Too many
understand a single
apostrophes.
word in this entire comic book,
Yeah. So
which really makes it unfortunate that I'm the one telling the story.
that is true. That is true. I mean, I wish I would have skimmed over it a little more. I guess
Whatever.
ultimately it's my fault. Anyway,
We're getting there. We're working on it.
So they're on the moon now?
so they go to
So-
the moon.
Cable has the Gray Malkin. You happy now?
Yes.
'Kay.
Grandmakin.
Granny Malkin, take me to the moon. I don't know why Cable's old now, but you never know.
Well, he is kind of old.
He is
but-
kind of.
Hair.
Yeah.
He's got gray hair. It's good enough. Anyway, so they have Gray Malkin set up to send them to the moon. They go, and there's this big, badass fucking scene where it's like multiple pages, and it's just like the little yellow bricks of text where it's just like, you ever just have three badasses pop onto a moon with just cannon fodder everywhere and just watch them fucking murder people? Well, you're doing that right now, aren't ya? It's pretty
Nice.
cool, ain't it?
Nice.
It's just describing what they're doing.
No, it's just like it's talking about how badass soldiers they are. And they're like murder machines, basically.
Yeah.
And they just got let loose on like thousands of things to murder.
Yeah.
And it's just frame after frame of
Clobbering
Cable,
time.
Wolverine, and Bishop just destroying everything.
Shink, 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 shnickety, 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 shnoit.
Eventually, they get overrun by numbers, and they're getting beat down, and they're about to lose. And that's when
The
Every-
X-Men show up.
X-Men, X-Factor, X-Force, Apocalypse, all of them roll in and just steamroll absolutely everybody.
Is there that one panel, like it's a splash page panel, where it shows all of them like running towards?
What do you think?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Just everybody coming in, storms like this.
Yeah,
Apocalypse is like, I am
You gotta have that.
Apocalypse.
You know, and obviously Cyclops and Jean are there, like in their own little cell, like their little bubble, right? There's like a bubble happening where
At
they're
the same time, they had just effected their escape after some whole like, you're a bad parents, here's a fake techno baby, abandon it, leave it, or else I'll murder you. And they're like, we will stay here and die for this baby we don't know. And he's just like, fucking what? and then they realize it's a techno baby and they leave, and he's like, they are terrible parents.
I knew it all along.
They blast out of the sidewall, and they find out they're on the moon, and they start dying because they're on the
They're on the
surface
moon.
of the moon.
They're on the moon.
Yeah. See,
then-
told you. Cyclops couldn't even do much because he was like gonna kill themselves if he did.
He busted out, walked out. They both start suffocating, and they're both just like, I love you, and it's all very adorable. And he says he loves Jean. We all know, yes. Jean! With my last breath. But... And
That's
then
how we
there's
should have
this-
ended the skit. Really, we should have just ended it with him being like, "Jean!"
And basically, so while this is all happening, Strife is just like, okay, we're in the final chapter now. All the chess pieces are in place. The ones I can't control, the ones I have controlled. He's been masterminding everything except for Mr. Sinister telling them what was really happening has been going exactly according to plan for him. Him losing half of his people on Earth, all of his people on the moon getting their ass kicked. All of this was exactly what he thought was going to happen. So he walks out onto the surface of the moon and uses his like telekinetic abilities to like create like a bubble of fucking air around him and them. And it's like the rest of the comic is basically just showing how badass powerful Strife is and just doing crazy shit. While this is happening, he's taking them to this one place where he's set up his whole scheme to go down. And he's like hanging them up in the air with his telekinesis, and he's getting that all set up. the X Factor, X Force team has wiped everybody out, and they're just like, okay, we gotta go find people. We gotta go find everybody. Apocalypse goes off on his own, and he finds somebody. I forget if he finds his old horseman. I think he finds his old horseman, and they're just like, we're gonna murder you now. And he's just like, let's fucking box. He gets basically murdered.
He does. I remember the final scene of him is like crawling away in his own blood.
And Angel's there,
That's
and
metal.
he's just like thinking about killing him. And Apocalypse is like, yes, my son, end me. Let me die the death I deserve. A clean death, a warrior's death. Give it to me.
Right.
And Angel just looks at him, and he's like, I'm not your fucking kid, bruh. And walks away.
Now,
And
this
Apocalypse is
this-
just like, no.
This is like an archangel looking angel, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
he's
I mean, he's still
he's
blue.
blue.
yeah, he's
Okay,
blue.
okay.
Yeah.
Earlier in the comic, he was looking like a normal person because he had like some weird tech that Beast gave him that
Okay.
made him look like a regular human,
Yeah.
but he's not. He doesn't wear it whenever he's on a mission
Okay.
Right.
because he has his like metal wings.
This was like the era where he still wore the Archangel outfit and he was still blue, but he let his hair out all the time to like be more human or a little
To
or
be
whatever.
90s.
Yeah.
To be 90s.
And of course,
Just like you.
Angel wouldn't kill him because he was like, "Do it, kill me." And Angel's like,
Who has been saying he was
Yeah.
going to kill him for the end.
Angel's probably like,
Not your bitch.
"Well, how would we move any story forward without you, Apocalypse?"
I
So,
have
yeah.
to leave a chance that you're still alive,
Yeah.
don't I?
Wrestling and comics, it's open ended, bitch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Always. Always.
So that all happened, and everybody's like, oh, we found them. They're off site on the moon on this other thing. So we have to get on our astronaut suits and go in our astronaut car and drive across the moon. And they're standing there, and there's this big force field around where they are that Strife has set up. And him, Cyclops, and Jean Grey are inside of there. And he has this force field set up. And as Havoc and not Havoc, as Cannonball and Boom Boom try to walk up, they literally just smack their face into this thing and they can't go through. Havoc walks up to it and he like struggles through it and like barely gets through. And on the other side, he's like beaten down and can like barely stand up. And Cable just walks right the fuck on through. And they go through, and he goes up to Strife.
And he's like, "Yo, dude, that looks just like me. Let's box." And he unhooks all of his like,
All his gear, all his bullshit.
all of his fucking huge shoulder pads and like all sorts. Almost the rest of the comic, it's just like blow for blow panels, like of him going, "Hoo-ah!" and then he, "Ugh!"
And like you were saying, his like metal arm starts like flailing about. I'm guessing as he
Yeah.
was like letting more of his power out,
and
so
then
he can stand
and then
up
his
to Strife.
face starts coming off too, to where you could see all of his techno-organic skeleton like,
Yeah.
under his face.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And as they're fighting, Cyclops and Jean are like, right before the fight started, they were just like, we can work together to figure this out. We can do this. And like little things had been touching on where like they were kind of figuring out that they think Cable and Strife, one of them is their kid, and they don't know which, but they never outright say it, and they don't make it completely clear, which is why like I went down the rabbit hole and like definitely, yeah, Cable, their kid, and I'm guessing that just gets shown for sure later on. Strife is a clone and all that, and they're like halfway figuring all of this shit out, and they're like pleading with Strife, like, we can work this out, we can work together, we can figure all this out. And Strife like halfway almost does it, but then he's like, nah, I don't trust you
He's
people.
like, "Daddy issues tell me no."
Exactly.
Can you imagine like Strife and Cyclops where he's like, all right, well, we're going to toss the ball now and we're going to do all the things that you missed out on.
Yeah.
I'm going to take you to the carnival.
All right, here, catch the ball.
Little bit of
Did I get it? Did I do it right?
Did I do it good, Daddy?
Not supposed to shoot the ball, son.
He's like, you're grounded. Fuck if
You
I
can't
am.
ground me. I'll go to the future.
Well, I'm not grounded anymore.
I'll go to the future and hang out all I want and come back. You won't even realize I'm gone.
So
Did you take the time machine again?
those two are fighting. Strife's power is being focused on fighting Cable as Cable is unleashing more of his power on Strife. Cyclops and Jean Grey are able to get free. They get to Havoc. And they sit there, and Jean Grey puts up a force field around them to protect them from all the crazy ass shit going on.
Yeah,
around
because
them.
like his whole facility starts going down.
Yeah,
and,
because like
crumbling.
just the power of the two fighting is like wrecking the shit.
Yeah, and pretty much that's like the last time you see Cable for a long time is just like Jean and Cyclops are like getting further away, and they're just like still fucking throwing dukes
Duking it out.
and just like everything's collapsing around them.
And Cable hooks up some shit to him, fucking wiring it all to this whole big machine, throws a big controller detonator button to Cyclops and says, whenever I tell you to, push this goddamn button. And like Cyclops is like, but I don't wanna.
But no.
And like, so it's getting down to it. It's blow for blow at the end again. He's still fighting him. And he's like got him in a grapple and he's holding on to him. He cannot get let go. And it's like there's this ticking time bomb that's ready to go off now. And he just yells at Cyclops, push the button. Cyclops has this dialogue with Jean Grey. And it's like he's actually not afraid. He wants this, but I don't want to do this.
Both my kids.
Yeah, he's
Sort of.
Kind of.
He's literally just sitting there like, I think I know who he is now, and I think I know what's happening right now, and I can't do this. And he just keeps screaming, push the button, and eventually he's just like, he wants this, and if I don't do this, this whole fucking moon is gonna blow up or some shit.
Right.
Hits the button, fucking big explosion, time warp fucking thing, and both of them are gone.
And that's pretty much the end, right?
Yeah, and then there's just a whole like
Epilogue kind of.
epilogue thing of him and Jean just sitting there being like, we'll never know for sure.
We should have kids now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and they're basically like, I'll never know for sure, but in my head, that's him.
Well, you know, I'm sure like 3 comics later he appeared again. And was like, he's like, hey, Dad, remember when you killed me? That was fun. I'm back now. And
I'm a different timeline Cable.
Yeah.
Who are you
yeah,
again?
right. So that was one of our favorite X-Men comics, or one of my favorite X-Men comics. Thanks, Destin, for actually knowing all the information about
Doing
that.
all the work.
Yeah.
I did my best.
I mean, I read it a few times, but like you have to remember the first time I read it, I was like in 5th grade. So, and you know, it was whenever X-Men was starting to get real big. So you would buy it, and it would come in a bag, and it would have a trading card with it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Remember
I
that?
don't know. If you ask me to tell you the story of Hank the Cow Dog right about now, I don't think I could do any better than you just did remembering what happened.
Well, Hank what the fuck is that? Anyway,
Next
he
time-
looked at me
next
like
time-
that about Hank the Cow Dog, and he's like, I don't know. I'm just kidding.
Hank the Cow Dog is a cherished children's novel series.
Okay,
Thank you very much. It's about a dog named Hank.
right.
He goes on adventures.
He goes on adventures and he
I couldn't
calls
tell you anything more than that. That's
Does
all
he
I
have any
remember.
powers or something?
No, he's a
he,
dog.
he is a dog that can talk to other dogs. It's pretty great.
That's a pretty sick power, I guess. Because
Next time on Great Stories, I'm going to have him read all 6,700 Hank the Cow Dog books. So that'll be a good time.
Yeah.
anyways, thanks guys for hanging out. And if you have any other stories that you like and you want us to read them and talk a bunch of shit like we just did about them or whatever, then let us know in the comments. Also, remember to subscribe and like the video. Thanks, Toby. You got that secret levels up in your shit. That's going good. Oh, you just started a new
Sounds like
YouTube,
a
right?
disease.
I did start a new YouTube. It's called Toby versus Telemarketers, where telemarketers call me and I mess around with them and get them to talk crap to me. And I say dirty things to them. It's really fun. It's really freeing.
Do you tell them about your secret levels?
I tell them about all kinds of things.
All right.
excited.
Also, you could. Okay, so we're on YouTube. We're on Spotify. If you would just want to hear, you go into work, you hate your job, you want to puff up a little bit, you want to fluff yourself, listen to us at our podcast at Spotify or Apple Music. If you want to buy a shirt, I don't remember the link, but you could actually email us. Our PayPal is IHateGhosts@Yahoo, and you could hit us up if you want a shirt. I'll put a picture up here, what they look like. Or if you want to donate, our PayPal is IHateGhosts@yahoo.com. You want to fucking donate? I hate my job. Fucking donate.
Don't fluff yourself up at work.
Before work. You got to walk in there with fluff. You know what I mean?
Pre-fluffed. Pre-fluffed is fine. Don't fluff yourself at work.
I've been
Especially
fluffing
not
myself
to
the
my
whole time.
place.
Also,
I need to leave.
thanks John Gainey for doing all the music. He did the X-Men remix. That's at the beginning of the video. Anyways, and Donny Wahl, he did lots of our logos. Shout out to those guys. So leave us a comment. All right. See you later, nerds. Bye.